Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about Match Me Abroad Season 1 Episode 5, Look Through Your Books. So if you're not familiar, Match Me Abroad, new show that started on TLC. The top three people are the three people who are looking for matches outside the United States, and the bottom three are the matchmakers, Katarína on the left, Nina in the middle, and Juan. So, all right, let's get started. Hopefully you're able to catch up on the episode last week. I gave you a glimpse of episodes 3 and 4. Catch me if you can. So let's just go ahead and pick back up where we left off. So when we saw Mark is in his 40s. Mark is going out on a date. He is in Morocco. The matchmaker set him up on Nina with a match with, her name is Sukiana, who is 24 years old. She is 20 years younger than Mark. Yeah, Mark is 44. She's 24. And you know what? Mark is having a hard time in Morocco. The reason why he's having a hard time is because he can't have any intimacy as far as like holding hands, giving a hug, giving a kiss out in public, because listen, the law says in Morocco, you can't do that. It's illegal. It's against the law. And Mark is like, well, that's not how it is in America. As mentioned, you're not in America. So guess what? You have to learn the laws of the land when you travel somewhere. And you just so happen to be in Morocco. So anyways, they get out to their date. Mark meets Sukiana. They're going to go out on a dune buggy type activity today. And so Sukiana is sitting in the dune buggy. Seemed like she's outgoing. Mark is happy to be, dating someone for the first time right now because he hasn't been dating him for a while. But he said he likes women from a certain type of the world, the Middle East, because of their skin tone, their hair, and everything else. So he's happy to be there, but he's just not happy about how young Sukiana is. But again, when she's sitting in that dune buggy, he's like, "Oh, so you're gonna drive?" She's like, "No, I don't drive. I don't know how." So Mark says, "Okay, well, get over and then we can switch." She's like, "No, I don't drive." Right. So when Mark starts to drive out to their activity, he goes, "So do you at least drive a car?" She said, "No, I don't drive." Okay, listen, if you don't drive a dune buggy, you probably don't drive a car either. She said she don't drive. She said like 3-4 times. But anyways, they get out to their activity. And one of the things that came up was Mark was looking at the beauty of the desert and everything like that. Mark was like, "Oh yeah, so this is nice. This is part of the Sahara Desert, right?" What if Sukiana was like, I don't know. And Mark said, "No, this is the Sahara Desert." And then Sukiana was like, "Oh, yes, it is." I'm like, wait. You're telling me that you don't know that you live in the Sahara Desert at the age of 24 or just in general, and you're from Morocco? Because see, as the conversation went on, Mark asked Sukiana, does she travel? What does she like to do? She said that she's never been outside Morocco, which again leads me to believe, like, how come you don't know that this is the Sahara Desert? But anyways, Mark is very well traveled. Mark is a sportscaster. He says he's been to different countries. Mark is ready to settle down and things like that. But when they got into conversation, another thing about Mark, he said, when he was telling the matchmaker too, before he met, Sukiana, is that he didn't want to be in a relationship where he had to provide everything. Like whoever his partner is would have to bring something to the table. So clearly Mark doesn't want a sugar baby that doesn't pay her own bills, because Mark, he doesn't care if they're young, but they need to be contributing something. So Sukiana said that even though she's never traveled outside of Morocco, she still has ambitions to have like her own fashion house in the United States. She's more than willing to come over to the States. That's her goal, to get here to the States. And she's okay with paying her way because she sees her mother and her father doing it. So for her, it's natural. So Mark is saying, Okay, well, that's good and all. I'm happy to hear that. Now, he does like the fact that Sukihana is independent. She has goals that she wants to do and accomplish, but he's not so sure that she's really ready to settle down and have kids right now because she's never explored the world. She's never really done too much. He did say that Sukihana was, even though she's 24, she seems like she's 24. And I get exactly what he means. Like, she's 24. Again, she's young. She hasn't done anything but, go around the block, and that's it. So Mark is just really wanting to have exactly what his friends have, the car, the kids, the picket fence, the dog, all the cliche that he feels like he should have right now. So, yeah, if this lasts, because Mark seemed like he wants to go out with her again, but yet Sukihana also feels like she wants to go out with Mark again. But if it lasts, I don't see it going like too far with this, because again, the age gap, and Mark is just a little bit more well-traveled right now. And also too, the vibes that I got from Mark from last week still carried over to this week just a little bit. He's not giving me like he's really ready to settle down vibes. He just wants to do it because he sees that his friends are doing it. I don't know. He kind of still gives me like a little bit of like a jerk mentality. I don't. Nina, the expert, said that he still comes across to her like a frat boy in a 40-year-old body. So I don't know. What do y'all think about Mark? Do you think that he really wants to be with someone who's 24, or does he want someone like with a little bit more age on her to know what she wants? All right, so let's move to Susan. Susan is going out on another date this evening with Carlos, the musician. So Susan said that Carlos is not on her list of things that she would want in a man, but her matchmaker Juan told her, get out of her comfort zone to try, explore other types of men, not just be so rigid and so direct on, he needs to have this, and this only. So Susan goes out on a date, and so far it seemed like Susan was trying to open up. Things were going well. One thing that Juan, the matchmaker, says is that Susan is very rigid, and even though the date is going well with Carlos, you can see that Susan she comes across like she's very well accomplished in her life, with work life, business, or whatever she had going on. And that she's looking for, in my opinion, she's looking for someone who can help take care of her, and they can travel, things like that, because I don't believe she has any children. And she has her dog with her all the time, her companion. So I think that Susan, likes the finer things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Susan's personality isn't necessarily shining through. Susan gives like she's kind of walks around with her nose in the air, like she's looking down, like she's a little bit better than people around her. That's the vibe that she gives. So I can see why maybe she's having a hard time with the dating thing. But anyways, like I said, as her and Carlos are out on the town, they're walking around, they're looking at different shops and different vendors. I mean, the conversation is there. It's more conversation more with, I think, Carlos being more into it versus Susan, who just seemed like, again, her conversation is like, okay, if we go to A, okay, we get past A, then we'll go to B. If we get past B, we'll go to C, like that. I mean, you can tell maybe she wants to open up, but those walls are like really super high with Susan. So they pass a vendor who is selling ants. Apparently ants is, Susan said, it was an aphrodisiac. And some cultures eat ants, crickets, grasshoppers, things like that for protein anyway. So that's not necessarily outside the norm. But for Susan, she's like, ooh, I don't know. But Carlos was like, go ahead and try it. Just try one. She's like, I don't know. He goes, well, just give it a lick, one lick. She goes, yeah, that's what the last one said. So apparently Susan has been bamboozled before because she made that comment off cuff. I don't know if Carlos caught on to it, but I certainly did. Carlos tried it. I think Susan bit it and just, maybe she bit it and quickly swallowed it and just moved on. So at least she was just a tiny bit of a good sport with that. So also along the day, there's street, like I said, there's street vendors and different things going on. So there's like this dance troupe that, they're break dance and things like that. So Carlos is like, hold my camera, because he's taking pictures and video of their date and things like that. And so he gets up there, he starts breakdancing and doing some moves with the dancing troupe. Now, I don't think that is too far-fetched. I don't, because I have seen, whether it be like on boardwalks or different little places in different cities, if there's like street performers, some of them will pull you in. It's okay to, dance or do whatever with them. I mean, hey, living in one of the most tourist cities here in United States, they do that downtown on the strip. So that's not far-fetched for me. But Susan was like, oh my gosh, in confessional, she's like, who does this? Who does this on a date? Have you like hold their camera and just take a picture or a video of them doing something like, Susan was really put off, like he would even just like, I don't know, have a little bit of fun. So anyways, when Carlos comes back to Susan, she has this look on her face. Susan definitely has an RBF face, a serious RBF face. But Carlos didn't pay her no mind. They continue walking along their date and everything. Then they get to the top of a hill where there's restaurants and beer and drinks, things like that. They sit down. Susan said, it's a really nice view, too, of the city because they're in Medellin, Colombia. And so Susan goes, so tell me about, what are we looking at right here? Like, what's the landscape? Tell me what's to do or what all these buildings signify. And Carlos goes, I don't know. I'm not from Medellin. I'm from Bogota. She goes, what? I didn't even know that. But, before he said he wasn't from there, Susan goes, oh, well, you weren't a good, like, what kind of visitor are you? Or what kind of tourist are you? Or whatever she said that you don't know about this. And when he told her he wasn't from there, he was from Bogota, she was like, oh. So then Carlos explained that, in his travels, he's been to Medellin many times, but, he's still trying to figure out what he wants to do in life. He's gone to the university to figure out if he wants to study like IT studies, things like that. And he's somehow along the way stumbled into acting, right? And Susan, when she heard that he wanted to be an actor, he feels like he could be good at it. He said his role models are like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, people like that. Susan was like, she said, when I was younger, that may have been okay, in my 20s to be with a starving artist, an actor, because maybe you could grow and find something to do as, time goes along, maybe you get some work. But now that I'm 50, I think she's 53, but whatever. Now that she's 50 something, she's not willing to be with someone who doesn't know what they want to do in life, that doesn't have a career, that is just waiting to, get the next big break to settle down. And she wants someone who could be financially there, who could travel, all that now. So, Susan wasn't really feeling Carlos. If she was feeling him before just a little bit, because, she tried to let her guard down slightly, that wall went right back up, and she's not feeling him at all, because she is not trying to be the girlfriend or anybody to a starving artist that maybe she has to support. But also in confessional, she said that even though she's been disappointed with the matches that Juan has given her, she said that she kind of felt in her spirit that Juan would give her someone that was young and immature. And she's not really sure if Juan is listening to her and what she wants for her matches. But hey, listen, she paid to be here, and she feels like she's listening, and she feels like she's going to get a match, but she wants Juan to get on the same page. So what Susan wants is someone, like I said, who's established. And with her first date last week, who was like talking all over her, so far she hasn't had the match that she was looking for. And I have to agree, maybe Juan isn't really giving her what she's wanting. We'll have to continue watching Susan. Okay, so next up we have Nathaly. So Nathaly, Matchmakers, also won, and she goes to meet him at a pool hall to tell Juan about her date with Stewart. Nathaly says, now, even though the physical connection was there, he looks nice and everything, body-wise, appearance, Nathaly says that was it. Nathaly says that she's trying to live in the moment, but she felt like maybe Stewart was moving a little bit too fast. But Nathaly, you invited Stewart from the night out to your hotel to go to the pool, right? So in a little bit, I feel like that was, in a way, slightly a mixed signal, because Stewart was thinking, okay, maybe we could get a little bit more acquainted. But when he got there, Natalie was thinking, or not, I don't know what she's thinking, but she had her feet in the water. She said that she wasn't trying to get in the pool, but she just thought that maybe they would just sit there and talk. And yeah, no, it didn't work out the way that maybe she thought it did. So she excused herself. She said she was tired, and that was that. So when she was telling Juan about the date, Juan said, well, why was that? Like, what got in your head? What got in the way? Was it like the thoughts from your mom and your family? Because see, Natalie comes from a Sri Lankan American household, and apparently her mother is still trying to find her a match, a boyfriend, a husband, kind of like an arranged marriage kind of thing, because they're traditional in their culture with Sri Lankan. And Natalie says that it's hard for her to be more expressive, more, sexy in her dress, more just live life like normal. I'm not saying she's not normal, but normal young adult people do, like hang out and just do different little things like that. Natalie feels like she has the heat and the pressure of her mother and her family not to do that. I guess maybe to, keep the family name and not, I don't know, have it look like you walk in them streets or something. I don't know, because Natalie makes it seem like she's doing something like really, really wrong. But one thing that Juan said to her is like, you know what? I have a 27-year-old daughter, and I used to be strict with her too. But I realized that this is her life. She has to make her own choices and her mistakes and make her own experiences. And Natalie was like, oh, you have a 27-year-old daughter? And he's like, yeah, I had to learn these things too. But also when Juan was getting on Natalie about, don't let your mom and your tradition ruin your experience, ruin your time opening up to somebody, Natalie shut down. She said she didn't, but she did, because she immediately stopped the conversation. But another thing for Natalie, she also doesn't realize that the fact that she came all the way to Colombia to meet a matchmaker and to go on different dates says a lot, says that she's opening up, that she's, maybe not getting away from all the tradition, but the tradition, in fact, where her mom or family members want to arrange a partner. She wants to get her own partner. So, I know it's a fine balance for her, but her being in Colombia is getting her own freedom. And Natalie needs to realize that more. So Natalie is willing to go on other dates. And I guess we'll have to see next week if she continues on with, maybe give Stewart another chance, I don't know, or whoever else Juan has for her to meet up with. All right, so next up we have Stanika. So y'all remember last week, Stanika went on a date with Salah at the family restaurant, and then the brother came up to ask questions, and then the mom and dad came up to ask questions, and Salah was like, let me escort my parents down the block. I'll be right back, right? And you could hear Salah going in on his family, like, what are you doing here? You're ruining things. And the situation was really awkward, because Stanika's sitting there with the matchmaker, Nina, and they're also sitting there with an interpreter, because Nina said that Salah speaks a different type of dialect she wasn't necessarily familiar with. So she had a interpreter friend there to, help bridge the conversation. So now Salah comes back to the table, and he suggests that they go out for a ride on his motorcycle, but he apologized first, though. He apologized to Stanika about the family, and just, he was like, well, let's go somewhere else that we can talk and, get to know each other. So Nina, the matchmaker, left and said, listen, girl, if anything else go down, go ahead and call me. I'm here for whatever you need, right? Whatever you need. Because look, again, the situation was very awkward, very off-putting, right? Because really, who does it? Just the vibe from Salah himself, and then the brother, didn't seem like it was a good look. So as Stanika and Salah go off on the motorcycle, oh, and by the way, in confessional, Stanika said she's very familiar with riding on motorcycles because her father has a few, so she's, she's comfortable with it. So as they take off down to look around Morocco, because that's what Salah said he wanted to do, give Stanika her own personal tour of Morocco. By the time they make it back to whatever hotel, whether it be where Stanika's staying at or maybe a different hotel restaurant, the vibe, if you thought it was off at the restaurant in the daytime, by that time they sat down, I'm like, what in the world happened on the motorcycle ride? Like, maybe did Stanika think about things that was going on? Because listen, they can't really communicate a whole lot without the translator app, because even though Salah speaks a little bit of English, Stanika doesn't speak any Moroccan, whether it be French or whatever other language that they speak in Morocco. So as they're sitting down, she asked for, she said, do you want some wine or something to drink? He's like, no, I'll take water. So that right there, I think that's part of the law too. You're not supposed to drink in public or whatever, right? And so they get to talking, and Salah suggests, please use the translator app. So they're asking questions now. Salah is sitting on one chair, lawn chair, patio chair, and Stanika sitting on another patio chair. I mean, they are like 6 feet C19 apart. You know what I'm saying? They're not even close up or side by side, 6 feet. So here are some of the questions that they ask. So the first question is from Salah is, what style of guy do you like? Okay. Stanika says she likes a manly man. Second question, Salah asks, what does family mean to you? And Stanika says, oh, that's a good question, because she said that she felt like she was actually judged by Salah and his family. So Stanika says she is into family too, but she noticed that, she saw red flags around his family. Like, she thought Salah was being rude when he was talking to his mother. Like, what's that about? So when Salah got the response, Salah said, you know what? Talking about family is a red line you don't cross. So to me, the tone, the vibe, the questions, and even through the translator app, you can tell the questions were just like, yes, they were normal questions, but they were definitely had the sarcasm, dripping with sarcasm vibe attached to those questions. So, in my opinion, Stanika should have just called the date off at the restaurant. I understand she was wanting to follow through with Salah and everything like that, but it just went downhill from there. Matter of fact, it never came up the hill. It just kept on sliding. So then Stanika said that Salah must have anger issues, different little things like that, just by the way he talked to his mom and just that whole scenario. But all that, Stanika was like, you know what, just cut the crap. And the way that Salah was looking, first of all, again, he's very rigid. He was like looking, he looks with a stare, kind of like a robot, like a mannequin. Like, he was very stiff. He was just kind of looking like the whole time, even at the restaurant, just, maybe he was trying to breathe in the energy. I don't know, but it didn't seem like it was anything. It didn't come across friendly at all. But Tamika, again, said, cut the crap. She thanked him for the date. She was like, we just don't have a match. I don't feel any chemistry, nothing. So Salah said pretty much, you know what? Thank you. Shook her hand, and really it is what it is. But listen, at the end of the night, Stanika, you could tell, looked like she was hot. She was sweating. Her face dropped. That smile was gone. Just everything that in conversation, lack of energy could have went wrong, definitely did go wrong. So Stanika said there's not going to be no FaceTime, WhatsApp, IG, Facebook Messenger, nothing like that. And then she did mention Nordine. She was like, even though she's looking forward to meet Nordine again, and if Nordine did something like this, yeah, same thing. It's not going to be no chit chat about nothing, because guess what? She is no longer here for it. So that was the end of this episode. But next week's episode, we're going to see Harold. We're going to see Harold go on a date with someone more his speed. And Harold seems like he's happy, but you know what? Harold always seems like he's happy with the first date, Therese, to this newest lady who we'll get to meet her next week and what her name is. But it's definitely someone who seemed like more up his speed because they talk about Comic-Con and different little things that he's interested in. So yeah, so happy with Harold. So maybe he'll get him a little match out of this. And then also we're going to be introduced to Chad. Okay. Chad background is he's been engaged 3 times and also has Juan as a matchmaker. And he is headed to Colombia to meet his match. We also see a little clips of Chad meeting with his mom, a little apprehensive about her son, saying, listen, you've been engaged, like I said, 3 times and nothing has worked out for you. Like, what makes you think it's going to happen for you over there? So he may not have family support, but Chad is old enough to do whatever it is he feels is best. I can't pick up on the vibe right now, but I don't know if it's giving the right energy. It definitely needs to give. And then Stanika is back meeting with her matchmaker Nina to say that Salah wasn't a match. Listen, Nina knew that before she left because Nina was side-eyeing him too. And then Stanika tells Nina that she's not sure if she wants to continue going out on dates that Nina sets up for her because she just doesn't have the same faith in the process anymore. And then finally we have Susan meeting with Juan. Susan says that she didn't care for her dates that Juan had set up for her. And you know what? Juan says, it's not the dates that I set up for you. Maybe that you're not ready for the dates and you're just not ready in general. And that Susan has just been picky and doesn't recognize that some things may have to do with you. So, whoa. So far, this show to me is, I think it's giving. Some of you may not think so, but I definitely think it's giving. I don't think it's scripted at all. And I am here for it. I'm here for the drama and what's going on with these Americans abroad who think that things are going to be changing just because they're in another city, as if people aren't people. But that's just me. So, all right, everyone. Thank you again so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, leave your comments so I know what you think about the show and so far the couples that we've seen on the show. And until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.